Hi there. Today we are going to talk about Blade template engine in Laravel. So Blade basically a template engine, and it is a PHP based template engine, and it does not restrict you to write the PHP plain PHP code in the templates. Okay, it is related to the view part of the Laravel in MVC structure, and it all the template resides in resources and views folder. Okay, you can nested your templates in other folders in views, like I made a partials, errors, components. Okay, and we denote the nested path with the dot. So let's understand it with the help of some examples. It's a web.php file, the main dot file of Laravel, and you get the default route whenever you install the fresh instance of Laravel. Okay, so let's begin it out here. You can render the view from the route closer or controller actions also. The syntax will be same to render a view. Here Laravel in the default routes, Laravel renders the view welcome. So basically, view welcome is a welcome.blade.php. If you see resources views, it's a welcome.php. Okay, it contains the HTML. So when you start your local dev server and hit the browser, you will see this welcome page. Okay, so in template, so hi there, you can change and refresh. You can get okay. So here it uses the view helper function to render the template file, welcome template file. Okay. You can also use the view facade like this. And to render the template with the help of facade, you need to use make method of it. Okay, like this. But you need to also include this view facade in your file. Then if I refresh it, it will render through the this facade. Okay. So in further example, we will use the view helper function. Without it is easy to use. We don't have to include the facade, and the helper function are the wrapper, so you can use easily without any inclusion and dependencies. Okay. So with the view helper function, we name the template file welcome. If our template name is a test comp, like here I have, then you can give test comp a demo, you can give the demo. Okay, like this. In any templates file you can pass the parameter with the help of with. So let's pass name Ajay. Okay, and you will access, it's a key value pair, you will access the name with the here in a template with a double curly braces like this. Okay, so if you refresh my screen, the name is shown. Okay, the other method, if you don't want to use with, then you can pass directly uh, as the second parameter of this function Sunil. Okay. Sorry, it must be a array. like this, so you can get the name. So like this, you can pass the multiple parameters in the templates, whatever templates you have. And if you have a nested if you have your template in nested folder, then you can use this dot and your template name like this. Okay, and this will be it must be a folder name. Okay, like this, so you can put your view in nested folder. Okay, by default Laravel uses the HTML escaping to prevent the XSS attack. Attack basically are the attacks. uh, it is based on the user input. If you have any interface that takes the user input and you render that user input in some other places, like you have a forum, then you must do the uh, escaping. Because if any user enter any malicious code, like any script, then if you render that malicious code, then it can harm your application. And it will be a security concern, big security concern. So by default Laravel uses this. Like if we have this name, the HTML tag, for example, then Laravel will render it as it is. It will not compile this HTML tag. Okay, so if we refresh it, you will get it like this. In some situation, you want to render stop escaping the default Laravel escaping, then you can use like this single curly braces, and in the single curly braces you can wrap your variable with a double exclamation sign like this. And if you refresh it, you will get the HTML you have passed on. In some scenario, you don't have to this escaping. So you can prevent the default behavior. Okay, there are some scenarios like uh, as we have passed the name in the blade template, and we are printing like this. Okay, and in some scenario, if you want to print it as it is, like with the curly braces and with the variable name, then you can use the Laravel escaper at the rate like this. Then it will print as it is. Okay, it will also applicable all the directives and on in the templates. Okay, like one of the directive uh, like you can say the JSON, for example. Okay. And if you want to print as it is, then you can like this. Okay, then at the rate, with the help of the at the rate, you can print the directive as it is. So let's talk about the JSON also. So before the get into the JSON, I want to talk about the multi-line escaping. So there is a directive, sorry, verb team. Okay, with the verb team, You can escape the multi-line can multi-line escaping, like earlier we have a name. Okay, and we don't have to prefix with the at the rate. So let's refresh it. It prints. Okay, any directive under it will not work, like a JSON. Okay, so it will not work. It will render as a text. So you can use the verb team if you want to show some comment on basis of the directive, and I don't know. So you can use the directive. So let's get into the JSON. Okay, so suppose you are passing the JSON data. Let's call it data. Okay, and you are passing the array name Ajay, age 25. Okay, like this. Then if you want to print this data in JSON, then you can use the PHP JSON encode directly. Okay, so but in the Laravel, the Blade provides a directive for it called JSON. It's a one-liner, and you have to pass your array. It will print your data in string format, in JSON format. Sorry, like this. You don't have to write the PHP code for this. If you want to write the PHP code, there are two ways. You can use a PHP tag directly. Okay, go JSON code. We print this, and it will print here. Okay, and the other way is you can use the blade directive. There is also blade directive PHP. All the directive start and with the if it ends any directive like a PHP and other directive we will go through, then it will prefix with the end and the directive name. Okay, then here you can simply just an encode, write the simple PHP code and in that data like this. Sorry, okay. So in between these tag you can write the normal PHP code. So the next thing I want to discuss the control structure in the Blade template. So there are the different control structure in every language, and in for the template, Blade provides the directives. Okay, so for the if condition, if you want to use the if condition, so there is a if directive like this. Okay, so if it is true, then print high. If it is false, then print there, like this. You can accommodate your code in these directives: if, else, if, and if. Okay, so you can one more here, else if, like this. Okay, like this. So you can accommodate your condition in if control is structured like this: if else, and if. It will be sufficient, I think, for the if. You can also check the if the your past variable is empty or not using the empty uh, directive like this. So we have passed the data. Okay, so let's check it out like this. Okay, so data has a record, so we will get nothing because data has a record, and if it is empty, then record not found. Sorry. Okay, we can also negate this condition. Then if it is not empty, then record found like this. Okay, through the empty directive, you can check the emptiness of the past variable. The other directive to check the data emptiness or if it is exist or not, you can use is set. Like in PHP, we are using if is set record is set, then let's say record found. Okay, so if we refresh it, it is not because record is not there. We have a data and record found like this. Okay, with the is set, you can check the existence of the variable. But is set does not check the emptiness. Okay, so we have a data variable, but if we uh, pass it as empty, then it will also it will again true because data is set, but it is not checking the emptiness. Yeah, like this record found, but we have no record. For that, you have to use the empty. Okay, so this is the major difference between is set and empty. Okay, so sometimes we need often actually uh, to check if a user is guest or authenticated user, then there is a directive guest. Okay, so you can render anything for the guest, especially using the guest tag. I'm guest because I'm not using any login, so that's why it's rendering true. Okay, the reverse of it, if you check if it is authenticated, it's auth. Okay, okay, because I'm guest, then it will not enter in the auth tag. So with the auth tag and with the guest tag, we can check the user is the user authenticated or not. It's a very useful directive, I can say. There is a env call directive. Okay, and in this directive you can check if your uh, current environment is staging or production or something else like this. You can pass the multiple environment: staging, production, like this. So you can check the environment in the blade with the env directive. The other control structure are we were on the control structure, but we were just little bit distracted. But again, come to the other control structure. The other one is the switch. So like a PHP, we have a curly braces or colon here and switch. Then we have a similar type of switch directive: case 1, case 2, case 3, and the default. There is a switch directory also. You just keep in mind and use it where you required. Besides the switch, the conditional over in the loop section, we can use the multiple type of loops. Sorry. So there is a for loop. Okay, it's a very old-fashioned for loop you can use. You can declare your variable and the condition, and then increment is going on, and you can print here your variable. The other one is for else. It's very interesting, I must say, basically, because if the record is there, if it is collection is not empty, then it will go through to your loop over your record, and if it is empty, then you can simply pass no record found. Like let's say, for example, our data, we have name and Ajay, and here we need to pass the data. Okay, and in empty, no records. And here, let's pass the item called name. This. Okay, we have a single record, then it must print the name and define variable count. It is okay. It is complaining about this, so let's comment it out. The name is a non-object. Okay, name, sorry, it is an array, in array, not an object. Legal string object name. Okay, and we have a key name, and if we print the data, it prints a okay, it's a key value. We can use the for each for that. So we have a data, so it has printed the item, and if we uh, truncated it, then it must print the no records like this. So it's a very interesting and useful for else structure. Okay. Uh, the other one is for each. It's similar to the your PHP syntax. Nothing is nothing different. Just use the at the rate for each and starting, and at the end, and at the rate end for each, like this. Okay. The next one is the, of course, while. So while is quite similar with your core PHP syntax. Okay. While at the rate in prefix. You can use the while, and in between the parentheses, we need to use some condition. So it will iterate to match the condition, and go out when the condition is false. Okay. There are two other directives with the break and continue. So let's understand with the help of the demo. Users, user, okay, and let's fetch out the user. I have some users in my DB. So users. So let's fetch. I am using Eloquent. I will make video separate video on this Eloquent concept later. For now, you can just fetch with the user model and all fetch all the records. So users, and I'm passing the users. We return the collection, and the collection we can walk through the collection with the help of the for each. Okay, users, and here we can pass. We can print our username, let's say, and user ID like this. Okay, so let's refresh it. Uh, just wrap it in P, so it will make some sense when you see it like this. ID 1 2 3 4 5. I have 5 user in my DB. Okay, so there is a continue like in PHP. Uh, all of us have already used that in some occasions. Continue. So here I'm using the continue directive, so it will not, this loop will not reach on this line. Refresh, we get nothing. Okay, and if we want to continue on some specific condition, then simply in between the parentheses just pass the condition. So let's say I want to skip the user ID 3. User ID equals to 3. Make sure this expression returns true or false. Okay. So if we refresh it, we have a 1 2 4 5 3 escape. Okay, likewise there is a break directive. Okay, in the break directive we can break without the condition, or you can simply break, or we can pass the condition in it. So let's pass it down. If you user ID 4, then break, simply break, then we will have 5 will be not here. Okay, 1 2 4. So likewise continue and break directive we can use inside the loop. Okay. Beside these break and continue, the one of the important can say property provide property of these control structure, the plate template provides the loop variable. Okay, so the loop variable has several properties. This loop variable. Okay, so if we pass it in the condition like if has an index, okay, equal to 1, equal to let's say 2, then it break. Then it will break if the index is 2 of the loop variable. So let's try it out. Unexpected and for each. Okay, we forgot to uh, close the if. If we refresh, then 1, 2, it breaks. Okay. Loop variable also has different properties like first the loop that is the if it is the first iteration. Okay, if it is the last iteration, likewise if it is a even. So let's check. If it is a even, then just continue. Okay, so with this condition we will have only odd IDs in the output, 135. Okay, in the nested loop you can use the parent property. So it's a very useful loop variable you can use in your loop structure. Okay, so in Blade we can comment with this, the double curly braces, double dash, starting and end, and the piece of code between that will not be run. Okay, so you can comment like this in the Blade. Now suppose you have other views to include here, like wait, I think this other thing. Mm, so let's make a new template in the view, new file, and test dot blade dot php. Okay, and that we have s2 tag, I mean test. And if we want to include this piece of code through this uh, blade template, other blade template, then we can use the directive include like this. So you just need the name, need the name of that, and it will be included. If we refresh now, I'm in test. Okay. Sometime we need to have condition if view exists, then it will be included. Otherwise not. Then if you use the view which does not exist, then it will throw an error like this. Okay, so we can use the if include if there is a directive. So include if the view exists, then it will be included, otherwise not. It won't throw an error. You can use the include if, it's a variant of include. The other variant is the way include when, if I am correct. Yes. So the first parameter will be true or false. It can be an expression. If it is true, then it will be included, otherwise not. Then let's try with a true, and it will be included. And if I make it a false, then it won't, like this. Okay. The other variant is include unless, if I'm not wrong, I think it will not work. Include if, include first. Okay, the other variant is include first. So With the include first, you can pass the number of blades templates. If it find the first one, then it will stop to running through this array and render it. So I'm passing the tests, and test does not exist and test exists. So let's try it out. Win test. Okay, it doesn't found the test, then it go through go at the test and render it. So you can include first. You can also use the loop and include at the same time with each. So it uh, it will have the first parameter with the view name, okay, and second is the data, okay, and the third is the key, and the fourth one is the flag if the view is empty. So let's try it out with our test, and like this. If you have a if you have your template in the blade, then you have to use the dot notation, folder dot notation, then your view name. I haven't, then I can use that directly. And we have a collection of users, so let's pass the users, okay, and the variable, what variable will be there to access this. So it act as a loop and if both. So if we in a test file, so let's change the content to some extent and access here user variable, and we will have the name property in that, like this. So if we refresh it, it prints the name. Okay, so it includes the view each time the loop the users iterating. Okay, I have a 5 users, so it includes a 5 time on the depending on your data. Okay, suppose you are including your view in loop. Suppose for and let's say 5 times. So this loop done the 5 times, and here let's say I am in test. Okay, and we are including the test in loop. Like you have a situation like this, and it will include the 5 times. Okay, but there is a directive of once. So it will make sure that your loop, your inclusion will be done only once. This, if I'm not wrong, must work. Yes, I'm in test. Okay, it has included only once. So with the once directive, you will make sure that your included view will be included only in once. If it is multiple times. Okay. So like this, likewise, you can use the ones. The other main directives I want to discuss If you have your form in your template, I will make the separate video on the form and its validation, but for now it's a simple form. It has a title, okay, and error directive. With the help of the error directive, you can print the error of the field. This error will catch by the exception uh, when you catch it catches the all the exception messages. Okay, basically it print all the exception messages whenever you validate with the validator of Laravel. Okay. So here you can see in Laravel, if you have a form with the method of the post, delete, put, and patch, then you have to include this CSRF tag. You can see my video on CSRF protection in Laravel in detail. So using this tag, it will generate the token CSRF token and make sure that the request came from the authenticated user, not a malicious user. Okay, it's the most important, I think, directive in the context of the home submission. Okay, the other one is the you can't make a request, put, delete, and patch using the form method. You can make only post and get. So there is a method spoofing called, it's a method directive. Okay, you can make a hidden field for the method. Like if you want to put here, then you can put. If you want your request to be like patch request as a patch request, then you can patch. If you want your request to be like delete, then you can put here delete. It's called method spoofing. Okay, so likewise you can use that. The other main concept is the layout. How can we define the layout in Laravel? So basically, if we have different views and templates in our application, like a multiple and quite 100 of, if your application is going bigger and bigger, then we have a base template. Like I have made in the layout folder. It's called the base template. Here you want to include all your CSS and GS in one file. Okay, and the all the content part will be dynamic. So there is a directive yield. Okay, for this. So the L directive will make sure that with this section, page heading will be rendered here and your content will be rendered here. If the content does not provided by the template, then default content will be rendered here. Okay, and in the child template, like I make the demo template outside of the layout folder. Okay, uses the extends directive. So with the help of the extends directive, I extend the base template here and I define the content and page heading section like this. Okay. So if we don't provide the content here, then it will render the default one. Like I pass the second argument here with the yield. Yield simply render the content you have passed in your child templates. And child template must have the extends directive of the to inherit the parent. Okay. So if we render the demo that's written here, the quick one. Then it will tell demo title. This is the demo content. I provided the content for the both section. Okay, this is a demo content, is a demo title in the child. If we skip out the demo, the content section here, then it will render the default content, the base template, like this. Okay, so likewise you can make your layout and inherit in your different templates, action templates. So that's all for the blade template. I will make the video for the component section in my upcoming video. So that's all for now. Thank you for joining.